Hi, and welcome to the Rule of Carnage Kickstarter Roundup for February, bringing together all the best that Kickstarter has for the tabletop miniatures gamer. And it's been a huge month this month. Loads of projects. We've got a whole bunch of game projects, some models, and the usual bunch of STLs. If there isn't something in this roundup that appeals to you, do go on Kickstarter this month. There's so much out there that I haven't been able to include in the roundup. There's really high quality stuff. I just had to cut things down because there were so many. So first up, those game projects, and it is Dark Gift by Alexei Vela. So Alexei is a member of the Rule of Carnage Discord, and not only did he enter the One Box War Game Challenge, his two of his games actually placed in the top 3. So you know he's a quality designer. Dark Gift is a sort of dark metal, necromancy, sort of hardcore style skirmish game. Everything that you need is there as a PDF on the Kickstarter to play the game, and like I say, Alex is a quality designer, so this is going to be a really high quality game, genuinely independent. If you're looking for something dark and sinister and gritty and grim, and you're looking for a small style skirmish game, something genuinely independent, definitely check this out, give it a look over. Strong recommend on this one. Okay, next up for our game campaigns, there's quite a few this month. We've got Sqwurmish, a vast, grim sci-fi skirmish game and miniatures by Creature Curation. So this is a sci-fi skirmish game. Not just a rule set, but loads of STLs in here to play the game with. It's set within the, or compatible with, the Forbidden Psalm universe. So if you're familiar with Forbidden Psalm, you'll have an idea about the sort of game this is. There's a lot of sort of dark weirdness, a lot of style to it. It's a really cool looking game, and yeah, if you're a fan of Forbidden Psalm and you're looking for something a bit more sci-fi themed, a bit more futuristic, this is well worth checking out. As I say, not only is it a game PDF, it's also got a whole bunch of STLs. So if you're just looking for some STLs of some weird, grimdark sci-fi stuff that's a bit more sort of out there, a bit more unusual, well worth swinging by just to check out the STLs. But the game looks strong, well worth looking into, well worth giving a look over. Okay, next up for our game campaigns, we've got Blood on the Sands, a game of gladiatorial combat by Blood on the Sands. So another game here that sort of had its roots, or part of its roots, in the Rule of Carnage Discord. I've checked it out myself. It's a really cool game. So it's based around gladiatorial combat, and it has a lot of sort of historical accuracy to the weapons and tactics you use, but also is a fast-playing, easy to get into sort of gamer's game. This campaign has everything you need to play the game as a physical reward, not just STLs. They've managed to link up with Wargame Atlantic and Sarissa Precision to put together everything that you're going to need to play in the box. So this is a fully self-contained physical reward campaign for a really neat gladiatorial combat sort of one-on-one skirmish game. If that's the sort of thing that you're looking for, you want something that's fast playing, historically accurate, and a fully contained product, definitely jump in on this one. Great game from a really great designer, well worth checking out and giving a look into, and having something that's, like I say, fully self-contained, ready to play right out of the box. Yeah, check this one out. Last up for our game campaigns, we've got 28 Psalms and Horse War double feature by Kevin Rahman. So 28 Psalms is a Morkborg compatible skirmish game. So a bit like Forbidden Psalm in that respect. It's got a lot of that grim darkness, a lot of that weirdness, set in a sort of possibly futuristic, possibly in the past sort of grim, nasty setting. Really dark. If you're into that sort of grim end of the world style role playing with Morkborg, then this is a great opportunity to pick this game up and get playing with skirmish miniatures in that setting. All the rules are available on the campaign to download for free. They're obviously going to be updated before they get fulfilled as a reward, but I think you should just swing by this campaign download the rules, check them out, see what's going on, whether or not you back, because this is a really cool rule set and it's available right there to download right now. And I think that once you read the rules, you'll definitely be backing, because it's a really cool, interesting game. Horse War is another weird and unusual skirmish game where humans have sort of died out and horses are fighting these sort of skirmishes. So this is a really cool minis agnostic concept. We've always got sort of horses lying around, I think, in the bits box, and this is a great opportunity to put them together as their own warband in their own sort of weird setting, get them together, play through a campaign with them, get some extra use maybe out some spare minis and bits and pieces, or kit bash and put together a weird horse gang all of your own. Yeah, two really interesting skirmish games. I say worth checking out, you know, just to download and have a look at the playtest versions that are available on the campaign. But I strongly suggest giving this one a back. Really cool independent rule sets. Well worth it for sort of kit bashing, skirmishing, playing an unusual, weird setting. Okay, moving on from our game campaigns, physical model reward campaigns. First up this month, we've got Dusterbourg, Sons of the Desert by Laffig Miniatures. So this is a sort of Arabian-style skirmish warband. Looking at these, the first thing that leaps to mind is that they'd be perfect for something like Frostgrave, a small skirmishing warband for a sort of fantasy magical setting. There are sort of summoned demons, there are warriors. Yeah, this is a neat sort of contained warband with a bunch of really characteristic minis that I think would do really well in a sort of narrative skirmish game setting. Like I say, something like Frostgrave would be absolutely perfect, but anything of that sort of scale where you want a warband, all of which have a distinct personality and fill out a place in that warband easily and simply without you having to sort of worry too much about kit bashing or creating a theme or a setting. Really cool warband, worth checking out if you're into smaller scale character driven skirmish games. Okay, next up for our physical reward campaigns, we've got Buttertown Bugbears by Hayland Terrain. Hayland Terrain are a company that we featured a few times around up. Really reliable, sort of old school minis producer. Put out loads of campaigns, loads of minis, you know, a solid guarantee for a Kickstarter. This particular campaign is for a set of sort of weird looking little bugbear dudes. So there's enough here to put together a small skirmishing band, particularly if you're interested in something like with a sort of anthropomorphic animal setting, possibly something in the realm of badgers and burrows, something of that nature. Or if you just want a sort of weird little bugbear warband, you want something a bit unusual, something that stands out from the norm, or someone to play sort of the bad guys, the gribblies in a skirmish setting, this is well worth checking out and well worth giving a look over. Really strong creator, some really nice minis, worth looking at and considering seeing how they can fit into one of your skirmish games or scenarios. Last up for our physical reward campaigns this month, we've got Army of the Dead Wave 3, The Zombies by Celtic Miniatures. So Celtic Miniatures are a sort of friend of the channel. They've sent through miniatures to me before to sort of unbox, and we've got the unboxing and construction of them somewhere on the channel. They make really nice old school, old hammer style minis, but with a sort of modern sensibility. Really easy to put together, really easy to paint, and they'll slot straight into any sort of GW Army or GW style collection, you know, really nicely and look really good. This particular campaign is for a set of zombies, including a necromancer and some really cool zombie giants. So if you're looking for some old school looking style zombies to slot into your existing collection, broaden it out, start a new warband, start a new army, these are well worth checking out. And this is, you know, as the campaign says, Wave 3. They've got skeletons, you know, all the bits and pieces available for an undead army in their range. So well worth checking out if you're looking for a decent size undead army, you wanted to get something started or expanded out. These guys look really good and are going to be really easy to fit into an existing collection. Yeah, well worth giving a look over. Okay, moving on to our STL file campaigns this month. First up, we've got Cavewolf Tabletop Build System by Cavewolf Studio. This is a terrain campaign, and it's one that I think is really cool, well worth checking out. It's for a sort of contemporary style building, but it's fully modular. So you can put together multiple different buildings, have them in sort of multiple different states of disrepair, boarding up. So this will work brilliantly for anything, obviously contemporary set. I think it'll work really well for post-apocalyptic, especially sort of zombies style post-apocalyptic gaming, because the buildings can, as I say, be sort of partially boarded up, partially destroyed, you know, looking fully pristine if you want to be playing something sort of immediately after the apocalypse. And because it's modular, you can actually have multiple different versions of the same buildings. You can play it through in a campaign setting, see things changing over time, give a real story to the setting. I'm a big fan of anything sort of contemporary set. There's not enough sort of contemporary stuff out there. This being modular, this being a sort of building system, I think is really great to pick up and have available, and you'll be able to fill out sort of multiple sort of tables and multiple scenarios and fill out a whole campaign with a relatively simple set of files. Well worth checking out, and well worth giving this one a look over. Okay, next up for our STL files, we've got Little Bretonia by Reiko Vendetta Studio. We get Blood Bowl style STLs fairly regular on Kickstarter. We've not seen any for a little while, so it's really nice to have this one pop up. This is a Blood Bowl team of Bretonian dwarves. So it's an interesting mix of sort of styles and teams. Also some treemen in there. You could play these guys as halflings potentially. So yeah, lots of options within a sort of relatively small campaign. A really fun sort of mashing together of different tropes going on there. If you are obviously a Blood Bowl player, you want a team that has a good bit of flexibility to it, could play potentially as a few different races, or just a team that's going to be a bit of an unusual version of what they are, something that's not going to be like everybody else's dwarves, everybody else's halflings, everybody else's Bretonians, whatever you're playing them as. This is well worth checking out. Yeah, I think really cool for an unusual Blood Bowl team. I think really cool generally as a set of miniatures. Really nice sculpts, lots of detail, lots of character. Well worth giving a look over if you're into Blood Bowl and you want to play something unusual, a bit different, with a bit of fun and a bit of character to it. Okay, next up for our STL files, we've got Fantasy World Forgeborn Clan Volume 1 Dwarf Armies STL Files by Apache Studio. Well, if some Bretonian dwarf Blood Bowlers aren't to taste, but you are into some dwarves, this campaign has got enough STLs in it to fill out a good-sized mass battle army. Several different units in there. There are rangers, miners, normal dwarves, all the bits and pieces that you really want to fill out the rank and file of a dwarf army. Because these are modular STLs, you'll be able to put them together in multiple different ways, so each set of STLs can create multiple units. There's plenty in here to have a solid, varied mass battle army, loads of detail in the sculpts, really good looking. They'll fit in solidly, I think, also with any pre-existing GW collections, anything of that nature. So if you're looking to play dwarves in something like Old World, you're, you know, still playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle, or if you want to use them for something like Kings of War, anything of that nature, this is a great option to get a army of dwarves onto the tabletop really quickly and neatly. Loads of modularity. I think you'll be able to use these STLs over and over and over again. Get all the dwarves you possibly want onto the tabletop. Really cool campaign, lots of options, lots of minis in there. Well worth giving a look over if you're looking for a dwarf mass battle force. Okay, next up for our STLs, we've got Timber Tides Supportless 3D Printable Terrain by Tainted Saint Miniatures. This is a terrain campaign for a set of sort of rickety wooden looking buildings on stilts. So there's something that's probably sort of lakeside, next to the sea, a fishing village or a fishing settlement. And I put these into the roundup this month because these buildings are so characterful. They've got such a sort of sense of place, such a sense of feature to them. I think these would really bring a tabletop to life. They instantly have a sort of a story to them. As soon as you look at them, you know the sort of place this is, what's going on. It's sort of slightly sinister, slightly dank and nasty. The buildings are a little bit twisted and weird. I think this would be absolutely brilliant for any sort of skirmish game, particularly one that has like swimming rules, something that maybe has a bit of jumping sort of capability to it. So Freebooters Fate, Carnival, anything of that nature, I think this is going to be a great set of STLs for. Just generally, they're a really cool set of buildings. I think any skirmish game would do well to have these buildings in it. I think they look great on the tabletop and give loads of options for dynamic movement, sort of heroic actions, swimming, jumping, leaping, all that sort of cool stuff. Well worth checking out if you want something to really punch up a tabletop, give a real theme to a scenario, and a sense of place to where you're playing. Next up for our STL files, we've got Bangor's Mysterious Mansion by Illustralia. As I often say, I think there's not enough sort of contemporary set pieces available in the gaming world. This piece from Illustralia, I've featured them multiple times on the channel. I've actually got one of their buildings printed out. It's really lovely looking. They have loads of detail. What they do is create buildings, usually from sort of pop culture movies, often horror movies. This particular building is based on Stephen King's actual home, his actual sort of mansion that he lives in. I imagine a lot of the internal features are sort of imagined, because I don't think that Stephen King has a sinister dungeon in his basement. You know, who knows? He's an interesting guy. But this is a large, heavily featured building. If you're playing something that has a sort of pop culture, pulp reference horror setting to it, any of the Pulp Alley, 7TV, this is going to be a great building. Like I say, I've printed their stuff out before, very detailed, you know, always with sort of little extra features to it. This also comes with a small set of miniatures to maybe theme out the setting with a sort of, again, horror theme to them. So yeah, if you're looking to play anything sort of horror themed, pulp themed, you want a sort of large contemporary set building, this is an absolutely excellent option. Loads of detail, loads of feature, really high quality stuff here. Yeah, well worth checking out. Next up for STL files, we've got the Green Buccaneers STL collection by Mysterious Stew. So this is a really fun collection of orcs. They have a sort of piratical theme to them, but what makes them extra cool is they've got a set of sort of pirate-themed vehicles. So sort of land ships, things like that. The orcs themselves have a sort of piratey look to them. If you want a sort of orky warband for an unusual setting, maybe you're sort of playing something like an old version of Gork and Walker, something like that, these are going to be absolutely brilliant for that. I think that they'll be a great option to drop into Space Gits when that comes out. I think these are just really featureful, fun, interesting orcs. The vehicles look super cool. If you're interested in some ramshackle, orky, piratey styled fun, definitely pick this one up. Going to be really great for characterful orky skirmish bands. The vehicles are excellent, really characterful, well worth checking out. Okay, last up for our standard STL file campaigns this month, we've got Trench Pilgrim Warband and Terrain by Black Cobra Miniatures. Well, it was fairly inevitable that with the success of Trench Crusade, we're going to see some campaigns themed to it. This isn't the first that I've seen or that I featured on the channel, but this is a really cool one. So this is a set of not just sort of troopers that work really great in Trench Crusade, but vehicles, terrain pieces, something to sort of get you moving as you're waiting for Trench Crusade to finally land. Really characterful miniatures that are going to fit straight in with the setting. There are sort of living bombs, sort of holy tanks, things of that nature. So really cool stuff. If you're interested in Trench Crusade, if you're interested just in a sort of grimdark miniatures agnostic setting, well worth checking this one out, picking these guys up, maybe getting, as I say, a little bit ahead of the curve as Trench Crusade arrives, getting some miniatures ready so that you can get playing as soon as it hits the table. As I say, generally these are really cool, you know, grimdark miniatures, so they'll work in different settings, not just for Trench Crusade. If you're playing anything grimdark and miniatures agnostic, I strongly suggest giving this one a look over and checking it out. Okay, that's it for our standard STL file campaigns. As usual, we've got a Pay What You Want campaign, and this month's Pay What You Want campaign is Grimdark Pipeworks by Anthony Salvati. So this is a repeat creator, and particularly a Pay What You Want repeat creator. They put out really fun, cool stuff, you know, obviously very reasonable prices because it's Pay What You Want. This one is a set of pipes and pipeworks. The Pay What You Want level is for a sort of pumping station that could work in any sort of industrial zone style setting. The expanded version has a set of modular pipes that you could build out an industrial zone with. This is a really great project, I think, from a creator who keeps very generously putting out, as I say, Pay What You Want campaigns. The pieces here could fill out a whole tabletop very easily, very cheaply, and in a modular fashion. So if you want to build out a tabletop that has a sort of industrialized look to it, really quickly and cheaply, and with plenty of options to fit any size table, put together in such a way to create exactly the sort of interesting terrain you want, this is a campaign I think you absolutely have to back. Obviously, the pumping station you can pick up at, you know, whatever you consider to be a very reasonable price. The expanded level I think is still a very good price for what you get and the options you have available with it. Well worth checking this one out if you want to quickly and cheaply fill out a table with a sort of futuristic industrial style to it. Okay, that's it for this month. As I say, tons of projects this month. Kickstarter has really kicked off over February. If there's nothing here that you sort of find yourself attracted to, please swing by Kickstarter, check it out. So many great campaigns I haven't had room for in the roundup. Even more game campaigns, accessories that I've had to drop out because there's just so much high quality stuff at the moment. I think this is only going to pick up even more as we go through into March, April, May. I know that, you know, Mike and myself are going to be putting out Kickstarters in those months, so loads to check out for what's coming up. If you back any of these campaigns, please swing down to the comments section, let me know which, swing by the Discord, tell us what you've backed and why, what other things you're excited about coming up on Kickstarter, and obviously please give us a like and subscribe, it really helps the channel out. If you want to support the channel we do here, in the links section there are links to mine and Mike's Patreons where you can come and support us in what we're doing. But for now, from this episode and this roundup, it's going to be a thank you and goodbye. So thank you and goodbye. Bye-bye.